In today's episode of Atheist Does Religion, we are going to talk about Islam. A couple of videos ago, when I was talking about Ram and Jesus, a random right-wing clown commented, "Bro conveniently left out Muhammad because he loves his head too much." So let me get this straight. You believe that if I express my opinion about Islam, I'll be beheaded? Let's test that theory, shall we? Listen to me carefully. I believe that Allah is a man-made construct, and Muhammad of Mecca was either a delusional godman or a clever politician, or maybe a bit of both. All these people who get offended when I call the Ramayana mythology and dare me to talk about other religion fail to understand a simple fact about me. My point of view just takes God out of the equation. So if I see a supposedly possessed man, I think about mental illnesses like schizophrenia and dissociative personality disorder and not demonic possession. Why would my views about Islam be any different from my views about other religions? Islam is the result of by far the greatest, most innovative godman in the history of this world. And like all godmen, Muhammad of Mecca was also selling delusion. But boy, he did it well. So here's a guy who took existing religions that he knew about, trimmed off the fat, added extra rigidity and rules to come up a new practice that claimed to be the only true religion, just like the religions it was adapted from. Now, Muhammad of Mecca was a smart man. He understood the assignment. He knew exactly what aspects of Judaism and Christianity could be forged into a compelling new religion that would appeal to the Arab sensibilities. The only real challenge was credibility. He couldn't just go out into the world one day and claim that he had a more efficient religion. No, sir, that wouldn't fly. This is where Islamic tradition's first miracle did the trick, the revelation. The angel Gabriel comes to Muhammad in a cave called Hira and tells him that there is only one true God, and that God had chosen Muhammad to convey his message to the world. Oh, and not only is he a prophet, but he is also the seal of the prophets, as in the last one, which means that nobody else could come up, say 600 years later, and adapt Islam into a new religion and claim to be the next prophet. That's convenient. By the way, an interesting tidbit. Our very own Mughal Emperor Akbar tried to do just that. He legit started his own religion, which he considered to be an improvement over Islam. It never really caught on. But that's a story for another time. Now most of us know Muslims, but very few of us know Islam very well. So for this video, I had to do a little bit of reading. The concept of God as a creator of everything is great in Islam. The religion imagines Allah as a nameless, shapeless entity that created everything and sustains everything. Great. I mean, if there is a creator of this universe, it sure is too complex a concept for our puny brains to comprehend. So a nameless, shapeless entity might be the best way to imagine it. But then Islam goes on to spoil the idea of Allah by limiting it and linking it with humans, just like Christianity and Judaism do. The idea of Qiyamah or final judgment brings in the same old credit system of heaven and hell, Jannah and Jahannam. So basically another religion that tries to control people's actions with the fear of post-death consequences. And control is the key word here, isn't it? Because when I read about the founder of Islam, Muhammad of Mecca, I realized that the one thing that set him apart from Jesus of Nazareth was his apparent political aspirations. Maybe that's why he didn't claim to be the son of God, because he needed to be a ruler instead. Now it's hard to say whether Muhammad's vision of the angel Gabriel in the cave was hallucination or pure fabrication. But he clearly believed that he was the messenger of God, because it takes real conviction to be able to rally others into believing something so ridiculous. But as I always say, absolute conviction isn't the proof of the existence of a deity. While Christianity was often used in European politics, Islam was born as an instrument to achieve Arab political unification. And because of the nature of the tribes that existed during the time that Islam was conceived, it had to be written with a lot more rigidity than the religions it was adapted from. Religious fervor was needed to galvanize the tribes to a single cause. Isn't it interesting that the supposed messenger of God used that message to become a ruler among men? Muhammad used Islam to unite the nomads and the oasis dwellers of Arabian Peninsula, and thus for the very first time making them an even match to take on the neighboring Persian and Byzantine empires. The Islamic empire that started with Muhammad of Mecca managed to rule Arabia in a big way for the next 600 years, and in name till like the early 1900s. Now, this was my view of the religion. I know I must have disappointed the right-wingers because I didn't use this video to defame Indian Muslims the way they wanted me to. The thing is, I can't in good sense do that. Sure, Muslims take their religion very seriously. But then who doesn't? I have been threatened with death for saying that the Mahabharata and Ramayana are not historically accurate. Can I use that to tag all Hindus as radical? No. The infamous terror outfits of the Islamic world that have twisted the teachings of the Quran for their own agenda do not represent all Muslims, just like Hindu supremacists do not represent all Hindus, or Christian supremacists do not represent all Christians. The point I'm trying to make here is that people will always use religion to do horrible shit. Yes, Islam is not a pacifist religion because of where it developed. The Sharia has a bunch of problematic rules and laws. Some that seriously violate tenets of basic human rights, gender equality, and freedom of expression. Because it is essentially based on outdated texts written in another time when these things were probably the norm. Stoning as a punishment, for example. A lot of people relate this to Sharia. But did you know that Muhammad was chased away by the polytheists of the city of Taif, who threw stones at him and got him seriously injured? And it's not just a Sharia thing, is it? And another fact that right-wingers will not want you to know is that in most Islamic countries where Sharia is practiced, the Sharia laws are used with European models of judiciary. And in most of these countries, the references to Sharia are largely retained only in family law. Yeah, fundamentalists often call for the full implementation of Sharia, just like Hindu fundamentalists who think that the constitution should be replaced with Manusmriti, a deeply problematic and casteist piece of text. Now, if you like this video, consider following my account or subscribing to the channel on YouTube. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section too. Signing off.